Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel for my review of Ninjago Season 12, Episode 14, The Prodigal Father. So a quickly recap of what happened in this episode. At the start of the episode, we see some thugs breaking the Samurai X cave and kidnap Wu, and then we see the Milton Dye and Pixel talking, and then we see a flashback of Scott testing the game and him getting stuck in the game and Unagami making it too hard for Scott to escape. Then since he got stuck in the game, then Milton Dye was forced to shut down the game, and since he shut down the game, Unagami felt abandoned, and then we see Zane has been kidnapped and Wu has been kidnapped too, and then the mechanic says that he needs the motherboard, but Zane refuses. And then he says that he'll hurt Wu, and then we see Milton Dye and Pixel come to the warehouse where Zane is, and then they plug Zane gives the motherboard to the mechanic, and then he turns on the portal and sets the plug to Zane as a power source, and the portal gets started up, and then Pixel try to stop it, but it's too late, and it stops, and then we see the mechanic laughing, and the portal started up. Okay, so the first thing I don't like with this episode is how Wu got tricked by a cardboard, because basically the thugs, when they were breaking in, they basically used Zane on a camera as a cardboard, and I don't know how Wu got tricked to see Zane not as a cardboard, because I feel like that Wu's not that dumb to realize that that's not Zane, because I feel like he would have noticed that was a cardboard. Then also I didn't like how Wu got knocked out by the smoke bomb. I know that it was a smoke bomb, but I feel like he could have been sneaky and escaped through an exit or something. He could have escaped, but he had to get kidnapped for this episode. Also, I feel like how Milton Dye was kind of aggressive, thinking that Pixel and robots and everything, ninjas, don't have emotions, which most do, but Zane and Pixel do, but that's just him thinking it. Also, I felt like that how they didn't look to see if Wu had any trackers, because they checked if Zane had any trackers on him, and they took it away from him. They took it, but I feel like that they would have checked Wu if he had any trackers. But I feel like those were just some things, but those were just some little minor problems I have with this episode. But I feel like that they would have checked Wu for if he has any trackers or anything. Okay, so the first thing I like with this episode is the flashback that we got to see with Scott and Unagami and Milton Dye and everything, of how it shows that Scott was trapped in the game, that he was trapped 30 years ago in the game, and then Milton Dye was forced to shut down the game because Scott was trapped, because Unagami made it hard, and then he made Scott get stuck in there, and Milton Dye was forced to shut down the game. And since that happened, Unagami got angry, and then he felt abandoned because Milton Dye shut down the game because the company told him to shut down the game, and then Unagami finished the game himself because he was the AI in the Prime Empire, and then it was originally called Unagami, but then they changed it to Prime Empire, which I really liked showing the flashback. Also, I think the mechanic was pretty good, and the ending of how the portal was started up and how the mechanic was looking all crazy was pretty good. I think Pixel was pretty good in this episode, and Wu, and at least Wu didn't lose to the combat. Well, he did get knocked out by the smoke bomb, but at least he didn't have bad combat. But I think this episode was pretty good, and those were just some things I liked. Alright, so my thoughts with this episode was that this was a pretty good episode. I think it was a pretty good one, definitely better than the last episode, because the last episode was the setup for this episode, because that episode was filler, but at least it wasn't as bad as filler, but it was still filler, which is kind of bad. But I think this flashback that we got to see of Scott getting trapped in the game, because he said that he was trapped in the game for 30 years, so I like how they showed that. And also I like how they showed Unagami, that the game was originally called Unagami, and then Unagami felt abandoned when Milton Dye was forced to shut down the game when Scott got stuck in there, and then Unagami felt abandoned and everything because Unagami finished the game and the program and everything, and he finished it himself. So I really like that flashback, and I think that I don't like the Zane or the abuse, because Zane's been getting all the abuse. I feel like that they should have powered up the portal with something else other than Zane being tortured, because every season Zane's getting tortured or something. But I have to rate this episode an 8.5 out of 10. I did really enjoy this episode. It was definitely better than the last episode, but I hope you all enjoyed my review of this episode, and also I thought the plot and pacing was good with this episode. But hope you all enjoyed my review. Thanks for watching. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you all in my next review. Bye guys.